Thanks for staying with us. So the debate on the constitutionality of the state of emergency declared by the president in Rivers State is not ending anytime soon, as mixed reactions have continued to trail the president's action despite since full gaining support from the legislature. The National Assembly actually had supported the president. So join us in our Abuja studio to give us his own perspective on the legality of the suspension of democracy in Rivers State is a lawyer and public policy expert, Dr. Charles Omole. Welcome to the show, sir. Good to have you on.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, so in the last 1 week about this issue of suspending democracy in Rivers State, many have come forward to express their views. Some who have come forward is the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, who said that it was a clear abuse of office, clear abuse of power, clear abuse of privileges cutting across the three arms of government. Also, the Nobel laureate, Professor Wole Soyinka, also said that the manner in which it was declared totally betrayed true federalism. Finally, also the governor of Ibadan State also said that the democratic tenets must never be traveled with, and the presidency did this illegally, and the right-thinking members of the society must come out to oppose it. Now, these are various perspectives for different people. What are your views on the president's declaration of a state of emergency and sacking the governor and the lawmakers in that state?
Okay, thank you. Well, in terms of, the opinions you've expressed, I think it's a natural opinion given what's in the public domain. But people need to realize that in Section 305 of the Constitution, the tests that are there before state of emergency could be declared. Some of them are what I call objective tests. For example, if the nation is at war, so that that's an objective test. But for example, Section 3 subsection E of those lists of tests actually mentioned imminent danger. Now, that means if the president could declare state of emergency based on what is imminent, that means that is not something that has happened. It means that's not something that has was in public domain. As a result, a preemptive step could be taken by the president to avert what is being told will happen. And for somebody who's also be operating the national security space, even at my own little level, the information I have clearly was that if the impeachment process had been allowed to continue and it became successful, the security implication for the Niger Delta was very serious, from what I have seen. But these are things you don't discuss in the public. As a result, I think the problem we have is the lack of trust in government generally. As a result, we don't tend to give our leaders benefit of the doubt. So clearly, I'm certain the president must have made his decision, not just based on what has happened, but what he has been told will happen. And as a result, that falls within the tests. So the test to declare state of emergency is not just about what has happened, but what may happen, given the information that is.
Dr. Omole,
we don't have that information, therefore,
Dr. Omole,
we can't fully, yes.
I get that. And I think as a follow-up to that question, towards the comment you just made, when we see democracy played out in other parts of the world, the leader often tells the people exactly what's happening. They have an idea because people can actually study the political intricacies and say, okay, this is possibly what happened. But I think Nigerians are totally, completely in the dark. They have no clue. So you're saying there's a possibility of imminent danger, which Nigerians and the public knowledge, we have no clue about. So maybe it would have been better serving to the government if we have an inkling of what was considered before such an emergency was carried out.
No, well, actually, you have a point there. That could be a problem of the strategic communication challenge from the government, but also, again, within the security sector, even sometimes giving an inkling to the public could actually reveal sources and could endanger sources, that's giving government, intelligence. So I don't want to go into specifics. There are instances of sources having been killed because government announced certain things that they thought would happen, because the planners know that, for example, if only 3 of you know you are going to do something, bomb somewhere, and then the government announces that we are doing this because of that imminent threat. Clearly, if you are the leader, you know it's one of those 3 people that know about it that revealed it to the government.
Right.
So sometimes announcing things can reveal sources.
Okay.
But the issue here really, my issue is not so much of the declaration of the state of emergency. But I think I'm prepared to give the president the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, even at my own level, I have seen things that frightened me when I read them in terms of what could happen. So, but the second issue now is the issue of the suspension.
Okay, let me come to that in a minute. Let me come to the ladies.
That's a more problematic issue.
Dr. Omole, let me let the ladies throw a few questions in here.
Okay. Yes, okay, that's right.
Yes.
Yes, so many Nigerians are of the opinion that the speed with which the state of emergency was declared showed that the president and they're also fingering the minister for the FCT, that's Wike, that they had some special interest in the resources of Rivers State. And that was why we saw that speed of, declaration of state of emergency in the state. I would like you to speak to that. Do they have any valid reason to have some of these insinuations?
Well, people can have insinuation based on their own, bias. But from what I can see here, one could actually say one of the greatest beneficiaries of this state of emergency is actually Governor Fubara himself. Because once impeachment article is released by the House of Assembly, it's on a clock. Within 7 days, this must happen. Within 30 days, this must happen. Within 3 months, this must happen. So that actually is a clock that will have started to run. And there's no way. And the security report, the bit of it I have seen, links the increased instability to that impeachment coming to fruition. So the issue here really is that the only way, really, that impeachment could have been stopped is through what the president did. There was no other way to stop that impeachment. So really, one could say that one of the beneficiaries of this actually the governor. The issue really, what I was saying earlier in relation to the suspension of the governor, which I thought was more problematic. Yes, there is no constitutional avenue or provision where the president is allowed to suspend the governor or the House of Assembly.
Yeah.
That is true. And I think the only explanation I could give to this, if I'm playing the devil's advocate from both sides, is the fact that it's purely based on doctrine of necessity. Because if you look at it, doctrine of necessity simply says what is otherwise unlawful will become lawful because of necessity. If it's to achieve a greater, prevent a greater harm to society. And we've seen that used globally. We've seen that even we used it to bring Jonathan to become acting president by the National Assembly. The process National Assembly used is not constitutional. But everybody realized that we had to, in quote, go through extra legal process to save the country. So it's not a novel idea, so to speak. The reason why I said that is because if you look at every time, especially look at the state of emergency declared under Jonathan, they were for security reasons. So the governors were not material to those insecurity. So they were left in place. But if you look at it from Rivers State perspective, the real root, the center of that, or the causation of that insecurity is a spat between the governor and the House of Assembly. So if this emergency was declared and they were left in place, what that means is that it means the impeachment process will continue during the state of emergency because they will be left with their powers. So the inevitable or the avoidable security challenge that the impeachment will have caused will still have happened, even though we have state of emergency.
Okay. All right.
So looking at those, at those parameters, it's arguable to say the only way to avoid those catastrophe imminently is to actually make sure that impeachment process is stopped.
Okay.
And the only way it could be stopped if both parties were suspended.
Let me go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.